Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. It's Claytano. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. And we're back with another How Important Is It video. And today's video, we're answering Rodrigo Romero's question. And he asked, how important is speed tuning in different PVE and PvP teams, including offense and defense? All right, now if you guys want to be responsible for the next How Important Is It video, all you have to do is comment your suggestions below and I could potentially use it for the next video coming out. Also, if you happen to be the first comment on each of my videos, you would win a gift card as well. So make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and also clicking on the bell to get notifications so that way you know when my videos go live. But just as a quick tip, each video this week will be coming out at exactly 7 p.m. Eastern time the entire week. There it is. You don't have to worry about having those notifications hit. You know exactly when it's coming out. All right. So to get into the video though and answer his question, we'll just kind of break down my Dragon's B10 team here and show you guys exactly what I mean by PVE as far as what speed tuning means. So speed tuning means which monsters goes first and which monster goes last. All right. So in this situation, I have my Galleon going first. After that, I have Hua going, and then I have Tart going, followed by Leica and Vertihile. All right. Now, Vertihile is the last person to go in the team. In previous DB10 videos that I've seen, you know, it used to be the fact where people wanted to build as fast as a Vertihile as they possibly could go, because the faster it could possibly be, the more times it's critting, the more times it's increasing your attack bar, and et cetera, et cetera. But I don't really think that's the case. I think it's better to have your Vertihile actually the slowest monster on your team, not super slow, but just the slowest monster on your team, because what happens is all your monsters go before Vertihile. They're at the lowest possible attack bar as they can be. So the efficiency of the skill that Vertihile brings is heightened, okay? Because you're not boosting your, your Galleon into a full attack bar that he already has, because if your Vertihile went first, all your other monsters are still going before the other waves anyway, really, when it comes down to it. So why would you boost the attack bar for your other monsters to just go? It's like a wasted turn, basically. You're just giving the DB10 a wasted turn. That's really what it comes down to. Of course, I have my Galleon going first because he could drop the defense break or add the attack bar or attack power boost before my nukers go with Tark, Hua, and Leica. I have Leica going before Tark, and I should probably have Tark going after Leica. But as you can see, my DB10 team works just fine. So is it that important between those monsters going first or second? Not really, but the main ones are really the Galleon going first and the Vertihile going last. Now, as far as the actual speed tuning, it's not just the fact that it's turn order, but it's also having the monsters kind of within the same vicinity of speed, so that way one monster is not like lapping another monster. So my Galleon is actually plus 93 speed compared to my Vertihile, which is plus 64 speed. So that's the gap between all 5 of my monsters, all right? Followed by the Hua, which was next, which is plus 78. I had the Tark, which is plus 55, but he has really nice base speed, so it's less of a issue trying to get as much speed on him as possible. I have my Leica at plus 75, and then I have my Vertihile at plus 64 following up behind. So it's really utilizing the attack bar boosting skill from Vertihile to its absolute maximum potential. All right, now that's actually pretty important in DB10. That could actually make or break your team. So some people are like, okay, why is my team not working? I have the exact same monsters as the person in the video has. I have the very, very similar rune quality as the person in the video has, but my DB10 loses 50% of the time. Well, try looking at your monster speed overall, not just the turn order, but also how far is the gap between them, because if your Vertihile is still going last, it might actually come to the point where your Galleon is lapping around your Vertihile, where your Vertihile is technically going right before your Galleon and just kind of boosting it right up into its full attack bar as it is already. So just keep that in mind before you complain about your DB10 not working, because that could be a really big issue, and it could be really important for your team working or not working. As far as the other monsters, like I said, the Hua, the Leica, and the Tark being speed tune, they're less important, so you don't really have to worry about them too much. Just make sure that they're all kind of in the same speed realm, so that way, again, they're not getting lapped. And you'd probably want your Tark to go last, because if the other two monsters or other three monsters between Galleon as well use their skills first, when Tark goes and uses his ambush, if I can pull up my Tark here, if he uses his group hunt, not ambush, I'm sorry, group hunt, it's actually resetting one of the abilities of your monsters that he brings with it. So it's better to have them come with him after they've already used their skills, instead of having Tark go before them using group hunt and not really gaining that advantage from group hunt. So something to keep in mind as well. As far as GB10 goes, it's probably less important in this one. I just use a bunch of Lucians and Galleon, and that's about it. For Galleon, you just want him to go first, and then just nuke it out the rest of the way. Of course, if you have different monsters, like you're using, I would say, Vermos or Megan and Bella, you want your defense break to go first, so that way every monster going after it is landing their hits into a defense broken monster, because it actually, the benefit of defense break is, I think, way overpowered. I think it's way too reliant on defense break. The game's way too reliant on defense break that you almost have to have it there or your team is going to lose. That's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. And so that's why you would want your Bella going first. So it is actually really important in GB10 as well, but I think the most important stage that it's in PvE wise, that it's really, really important is Necro B10. I'm not going to run a Necro, but I'll just tell you guys exactly why. So I have my Colleen going first at plus 91 speed. Of course, the speed in Necro is capped anyway, so you don't really need to worry about that too much. So Necro is really just turn order when it comes down to it. So I have that going first, so it increases the attack power. And then I have it going straight into my Lucian, which is the next fastest monster. Actually, I have Hua in here, which I've kind of been messing around with, so I guess Hua goes next. But you'd probably want your Lucian to go next, because he's going to clear out those waves really quickly, and you wouldn't have to worry about Hua going before Lucian, and he would just clear out the wave. But having Hua, it's not going to kill your team. It's not going to make your team like lose if you have your Hua going before your Lucian. But just keep in mind, you're losing a turn if your Hua goes before your Lucian, and your Lucian's clearing out that full wave anyway. So after the Lucian, though, you have the two Liches that go after him. And the reason why you'd want your two Liches to go after is because they have the slow ability on their skill 1, okay? So skill 1, they have the ability to slow the monster, and if you get a slow onto Necro B10, you're increasing your chances of winning by 100% just by landing a slow on the boss. If you can get through and land a slow on the boss on the first turn, or the first chance to get through the shield, then you're decreasing the time that it will take you to kill the boss by probably, I don't know, I'd say 30 seconds or more. That's how much it will fluctuate in Necro B10. And this team is actually a pretty solid team. It's fairly stable, running about a minute and a half. Just if you guys want ideas. Hua is pretty interchangeable if you want to use another multi-hitting monster instead of Hua. I just like Hua because she does a lot of damage single target. But as far as going into like PvP on arena offense and arena defense, we'll go through it real quick. So as far as defense is concerned, so say I were to use a little bit different of a team. Say I were to use, let's say, Ritesh in here instead. Okay. Say I were to use Ritesh. Now, you would think it's probably common sense that you would want your Ritesh going before your Samath or even your Perna, because what does Ritesh have? Ritesh has an AoE defense breaking skill on his third skill, which is Trick of Wind. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're landing your defense break before you land your AoE skill from Samath. Okay? It's the same thing. Perna as well. You want to make sure that he's going into a defense broken monster. And of course, your Frigate's going to be the fastest monster out there because he's going to be the attack bar booster anyway. Now, that being said, okay, that's turn order. You want to make sure that your turn order is correct, but then you also want to make sure that your monsters are within the same vicinity of speed, or as close as possible and tightly, matched, so that way there's not a chance of getting cut in between. So for my Ritesh, I don't have it runed correctly to be in this defense, so he doesn't belong in here. He's going after my Samath. He's extremely slow, and he's actually even slower than my... Yeah, he's even slower than my Perna, actually. 179. And yeah, he's even slower than my Perna. So this Ritesh, even though this defense looks pretty good, it's not going to work because the Ritesh is too slow. So that's where I would say, okay, I need to get my Ritesh exactly at probably 200 speed because I want him to go right before my Samath and land that AoE defense break. Now, keep in mind that if you have him at 200 speed, the defense or the speed leader from Samath might actually make him a little bit faster, might make Samath a little bit faster because his base speed is more at 98 instead of the 96. So you might need to have him like 201, 202 speed. But figuring out what exact speed would make him go right before the Samath, and just by one speed, if you change one speed on the Ritesh to go one speed less or more, would be the difference between going before or after your Samath. That's really how tight you want to get it down to. And even if you can get it as close to where if you switch your Ritesh and your Perna, and Perna goes before Ritesh if he's in the second slot, or after Ritesh if he's in the third slot, that's an even better way to gauge how close and how perfect your speed tuning is. And really when it comes down to it, when you guys are trying to get into higher ranks of arena, if you can get your team that close, that's ideal. And it's actually very, very important if you're trying to maximize your win ratio on defense and on offense. So to talk about it on offense, and I just actually did that team and I don't want to do that. I want to put my Camila back in because it is midweek right now. So put Camila back in. And so if I were to say go on arena offense and look at my my nuke team, okay? So I have Tiana, which is at plus 112 speed at 96 base speed. So if I have Tiana going with Galleon, Galleon's at plus 93. So they're actually very, very close in speed. Now I can get away with a little bit more of a gap because Tiana, you know, she closes that gap with her third skill and increases the attack bar of allies. Some people actually go with a really fast Tiana in a cleave comp like this, and it's just ridiculous because what you're doing is you're gonna boost up your Tiana. If your three other monsters aren't fast enough to be not cut in between, then you're basically just gonna say, okay, all the will runes, all the shield runes that I have on my monsters, I'm gonna get rid of them. I'm gonna give you guys a clear shot at all my monsters now. Here you go, come take them, and they're gonna kill you. It's gonna be that simple, and that comes just from not having enough speed or having too much speed on your Tiana and not enough speed on your three other monsters. Now, with my Galleon, I have it at plus 93, but my Zeros I have going afterwards at plus 97. So plus 97 is actually too much of a gap when it comes down to it, and that's something that I need to work on myself, is closing this gap. So plus 93 plus 108 is 93, 120, oh my gosh, 201. Yeah, so 201 speed, and then my Zeros is like around 190, okay, 191, which is crazy, crazy bad. Okay, that's almost 10 speed difference, right? So same thing with Alicia. Alicia is 96 base speed with 89 plus speed. So the gap between my Galleon and my Alicia is horrible. But the fact that I have Tiana kind of makes up for that. So it actually closes everybody's gap and it increases everybody's gauge boost. So it's pretty OP. Not gonna lie, Tiana's OP. But if you're running it with a different strip monster, like say Triton, say you're using Triton instead of Tiana, it's actually more important. Of course, Triton has a little bit of a handicap as well with decreasing the other team's monsters, but you can't really rely on that as much as you can rely on Tiana. So keep that in mind if you guys are building your arena offenses. Make sure they're as tight as possible. And same thing, if you switch one monster out like this, it'll be the difference of making your Zeros go first or your Galleon go first. Because the actual place of where the monsters are put in your team, it's like say 2, 3, or 4 slot, will actually make them go first or second if they are the exact same speed. All right, but I know it's been a lot of information. I'm going to leave it at that for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you learned something, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, smash it. And aside from that, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, stay soupy, don't be potatoes, and I will see you guys tomorrow at exactly what time? 7 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you guys are there commenting first. All right, peace.